Hey guys, it's time to get started here with Bollocks this evening. It is Thursday, June 26th.
You know what that is?
2025. Yeah.
This guy's birthday.
It's my birthday. So I'm 142 years old today and feel at least 128.
And you don't look a day over 126.
There you go. That's how I wanted to feel. I have a present I have to open pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
But first we got to pay some bills.
Let's do some business first.
Let's do some.
It may get dicey.
All right, here we go. I got them in order. Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, their goal is to make sure time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online at bozardford.com.
Land Title of America, the oldest title company serving the oldest city. Stephen Collins, the owner of Land Title, has been working in the title insurance industry here in St. Augustine since 1985, specializing in all your title insurance and closing needs. If you have a title issue, there is no one better. Stay local. Choose Land Title. Call or text him anytime on his cell phone, 904-501-4481. Land Title. They give a crap. And by the way, you can also watch their show Wednesdays at 6 o'clock on the 904 Now Network.
Yeah, they've been doing an excellent job. Rusty, his brother, and Steven talk a lot of different legal things and titles and stuff like that. So it's very, very informative.
Good information, you bet.
All right, we're talking about Meehan's Irish Pub and Seafood House. Eat, drink, and be Irish at Meehan's Irish Pub and Seafood House, right on the waterfront in downtown St. Augustine. Whether you're craving classic corned beef and cabbage, fresh seafood from the Raw Bar, or their famous bangers and mash, Meehan's is where locals and visitors feel right at home. Grab a pint in the cozy Irish Pub, unwind upstairs at Johnny's Oyster Bar, and then enjoy the stunning views of the Matanzas River, or kick back in the backyard with tropical vibes and Caribbean-inspired menu. The pints are cold, the food's unforgettable, and the welcome is always warm, only at Meehan's.
You know, when I see food, I eat it.
Yes, especially there.
Yeah, absolutely there. So, when quality matters, trust A.D. Davis Construction, North Florida's expert in high-end homes, commercial builds, renovations, and historic restorations. With over 65 years of experience, their dedicated team delivers craftsmanship you can count on and relationships built on trust. They don't just build buildings, they build confidence with integrity, performance, and results that keep over 85% of our clients coming back. From concept to completion, choose A.D. Davis Construction, where your visions meets our legacy of excellence.
All right. We have several other sponsors we got to give shout outs to. Mm-hmm. We have A to Z Waterproofing, Anastasia Diners, Moultrie Creek Diner, Mr. Electric, Brightway Insurance, St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum, Anastasia Construction Group, Solar Stick, A.B. Bear Kresge and Associates, The Saint, and Powell Heating and Air. Thank you guys so much for letting us do this. So much and 4 days a week we're on here, and we really appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without those sponsors. So
I thought I was retired, but you pulled me back in.
I pulled you out of retirement.
There you go.
Into the world. So I have a present here, and I'm assuming this is from yourself and Julie.
Correctamundo.
So I was told I'm supposed to always open the card first.
Okay.
Is that true?
I have no official position on that.
All right, I didn't know, but I don't know the rules, but if you're in the comments, let me know if I'm supposed to open the card first or the present first. Okay. I'm always a present first person, but I was told I did it wrong today.
Oh, well, earlier. I'm sorry to hear that, but I always open cards and I just shake them just in case Grandma left a $5 bill in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is perfect for me and you. It says partners in crime, and it says, I'm glad we're the kind of friends that people point to and say, look out for those two. Happy birthday. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, Julie.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and the fact that you have a liquor bottle here and we don't have glasses, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Take a big guess.
I'm going to go out on a limb that these might be bourbon glasses.
They are.
Oh, I don't know how I knew. I don't know how. Ooh, they're heavy.
Yeah. Hey, when we do glassware right.
Yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy. So, all right. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I do have a knife in my pocket if I need it. I don't know if I need it.
Probably not. It's only scotch tape.
Yeah, it's only scotch. There you go. All right. How's that sounding on the microphone, Blake? All right. I'm going to only take out 2 since there's only 2 of us drinking. Oh, those are packed in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
So these are our official studio bourbon glasses now?
Absolutely correct in more ways than one.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to put these over here.
And I'm liking this little origami stuff over here.
Yeah, what they got going on?
This is impressive.
All right. I do have a trash can here close. Oops, I'm going to put this over here. All right. Let's see what we got. Wow, they did. Man.
Serious.
These things are safe.
Yep. Well, good. I dropped the box twice, so I hope so.
And then you came in and dropped something else. You're like,
I'm telling you, all day long, I've been juggling.
Oh, that is perfect. Oh, so it is actually, I don't know if it's going to show up on there at all, but it has the glass engraving and it says bollocks on there. Can you see that, Blake?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that is perfect. So now we need to see if they hold bourbon.
We'll try that out and see. Why don't we?
Yeah. So we're going to see if they hold bourbon. So, no, thank you guys. That's really cool.
You're very welcome.
This is definitely that's plenty. That's plenty for me.
Right. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dad, remember we drove home separately.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that's plenty.
We're only sipping.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we're doing what we're doing there, Blake. Whew, man. So cheers, sir.
Many happy returns.
And this is the
sherry one?
Yeah.
Yep.
The one that's finished in the
sherry cask.
Sherry cask.
Paris sherry cask. Yep. So a little sweet. I've missed you, my friend.
So, all right. While doing that, I erased all my notes here.
Yeah.
So
back to work.
Yeah.
That is tasty though.
Back to work. That is yummy stuff. So first part of the show, we're doing our normal back and forth and all that. And then the second half, we're going to talk about coming of age, traditions of coming of age. Today's my birthday. I was like, wow, okay, what are some of the different cultures of when they come? Talk about bar mitzvahs and
a couple others out there too. Believe me.
What's the Amish? The Rums.
The Rumspringer.
Springer. I mean, some of the more common ones there, but I found some ones that
Ethiopia.
Yeah, no. Well, there's some other ones out there that it's really.
Yep.
The one with the crocodile skin is really crazy. Did you see that?
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah.
I got an Apache sunrise ceremony. Mm-hmm. They're kind of the standard ones.
Yep. So we got those in the second half, but what is your first topic to start the show?
Alligator Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz.
It's going to bite him in the ass, and I don't mean the alligator, unfortunately. Maybe not. Hopefully, it will protect us. There's a potential that this could save us all.
Mm-hmm. So I have unbreakable baseball records.
Okay.
All right. What's your next one?
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails. Okay. Yeah. You text that. I didn't know what that was exactly. So.
Well, it's not, but that's okay. It's a conspiracy theory that has just been, without using the word, legislated out of existence by the fabulous state of Florida.
Okay. Chemtrails.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's legislated out of existence.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, that one I'm interested in because I don't have any idea what that might be. So, Blake, you heard the three. We have Alligator, Alcatraz, unbreakable baseball records, and chemtrails.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna go with Alligator Alcatraz.
Okay.
All right. So
this is an interesting one. It makes a little bit of sense on some levels. I don't know if it makes financial sense in the fact that it's more expensive, but basically what it is the state of Florida is now building a deportation holding center at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, which is an airport that they use for training in the middle of the Everglades. And their whole conjecture is, we don't need fences. Where are they going to go? If they get into the Everglades, they're going to get eaten by an alligator or killed by a python.
Yeah.
And that was literally how they were phrasing this.
Yeah.
So what I find problematic is they're going to take this aircraft runway and put soft-sided structures, which I'm translating as tents, to hold the deportees.
Okay.
This is Florida. This is hurricane season. This is just north of Miami. You want to put people in tents in there? And how are you going to get rid of them? How are you going to
How do you
evacuate them?
think Miami was? What, did you ever go to Tent City?
No.
They chose to live there.
No.
In tents. It's all tents.
Well, did they have any choice?
It's all tents. No, they left Cuba.
Okay.
And they got here. And then Reagan said, okay, we're going to let that slide this time.
Okay.
And then they all lived in tents for years.
Really?
In tents in Miami.
Never got blown away by a
Of
hurricane.
course they did.
That's what I'm wondering.
But every house did too. Every trailer did
Right.
too.
Well-
Well, you want us to
Well, a wall would help.
want us to build them a mansion?
I don't want you to
They're
build them anything.
illegal.
And better still,
They can they're living in a tent, probably getting 3 meals a day. And
I don't know about that.
Oh,
but, you know.
they're getting fed.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
And
It's like jail. It's like your bologna sandwich on white bread.
Yeah.
Exactly.
so
But it's interesting because, it's convenient that there's an
I don't want
airstrip
them
there.
to build a multi-million-dollar facility.
Well, it's interesting because the money's coming from FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I said, great. So if we have a problem in the country that needs FEMA, well, not that there's a FEMA anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
that needs FEMA reliance, they're going to use this money. It's not. It's a separate pool of money that started
Mm-hmm.
under the Biden administration, which was to repay cities for their shelter and service programs for illegal immigrants. Right.
Illegal-
No,
okay.
illegal immigrants.
Okay.
And then Donald Trump clawed back $80 million of that, basically out of New York City, because he said these people were living in hotels.
Mhm.
Okay. So the money's not coming from, if there's anything
Blake's
left in
got a
FEMA.
picture of it right there. That's
Yeah.
that's a heavy duty structure.
Well, in all honesty, I think they're living in tents in Texas detainment centers
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
So, but, the hurricanes don't
Like,
look through Texas.
pull up a picture of Tent City in Miami for Lenny.
Isn't that in the parking lot for the Florida Georgia game and outside for the Daytona 500? Aren't those 10 cities too?
Those
are RV cities.
Those are RVs.
Right.
Those are
I
a
know.
different level.
I know, I'm
Yes,
being
those.
facetious.
Yeah.
Because most of the people outside of the Daytona 500 in tents outside of the parking lots are just like third party
Vendors?
die-cast sellers.
Yeah.
Vendors, yeah.
Yeah, they're vendors.
Diecast
yeah.
sellers?
Yep. So Blake,
Wow,
pull
okay.
up Tent City, Miami.
I never got
So
to
he's
the
got an
diecast store.
idea of the population of how many people lived in Miami.
So are they Marielitos? Was that after the Mariel boat lift?
I think some are, and some people have been living there for like decades.
Still.
Yeah.
All
The rent must be cheap.
Yeah. So there it is, right there.
That seems what looks like a lot of tents.
Yeah.
Looks a little hard structured
No,
to me.
no. Those are all tents along the sidewalks there.
Yeah, well, you're fine. That's Skid Row in Los Angeles. That's
Yeah.
under any overpass where there's homeless.
But that's not a keep looking on the
Dang
tent
it.
city. That one's not. I mean,
Poor representation?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
It is a
no,
whole.
I wasn't familiar with it.
There is a whole village, a tent city here.
I'm trying to look my best. There isn't like a good overview of like every single like tent village because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to be in the area where like now just to confirm, Freetown's not like a tent city, is it, in Miami?
Yeah, they might be calling it that.
All right,
Is it Freedom Town? Is that what you said?
let me check. Yeah, here.
Yeah, but Bobby, they don't have hurricanes in Arizona.
Oh, yep, it was Freetown. Hold on, got the photo.
Okay, you find it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Boom.
those are just people.
Not a tent.
There's tents right behind there's tents on the left and on the right.
That looks like a flea market.
Yeah, it probably is. Cubans.
Keep trying.
Cuban cigars everywhere, though.
That would be nice. Yeah, Ybor City, baby. Way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Good cigars, a good thing.
All right, but I do have a photo for you of the Texas immigration, like what's currently at the border in Texaco, in Not Texaco, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texaco is a gas company. I'm going to pull up the inventory right here, and this is what the current setup looks like right now. So it'll basically be like this setup.
That's a big ass wedding venue.
Indeed.
Okay.
But still dwarfed by the Jeff Bezos wedding though.
Which, by the way, got moved to a different location in Venice because the protesters that were going to put inflatable crocodiles in the Grand Canal and clog it with boats don't have to because they forced them to move to a different island. So poor Jeff and Lauren's wedding is a little bit for bludgeoned.
Yeah. So it was Tent City at Miami Stadium is where
The Orange Bowl?
it's where I was talking about. Yeah.
So I just think this is convenient because now that the Supreme Court says you can send anybody to any country, whether they speak the language or know the country, you've got an airstrip there. So they're going to go in. Yeah, they're not going to be the tents long. They're going to be on an airplane 15 minutes later, and they're going to end up somewhere in, a country they don't know.
Yeah.
Which is really, do we have deals with these countries to take these people in? And is there any oversight? And I'm sure it's out of sight, out of mind as far as the United States is concerned, or certainly the administration. What happens when these people get to a country where they don't speak the language? It's not like when you get out of jail, they give you a cardboard suitcase, a suit, and $5.
Well,
What's going to happen?
A lot of them aren't speaking the language in the country they're
I
in
understand
right
that.
now.
Well, fair
So
enough.
what's what's the difference?
Well, because they got relatives here, and they can ostensibly try to find a job.
And I don't know if you've heard my 100% strategy. I've had this strategy my entire media career with the illegals. We give almost $900 million to Mexico,
Right.
okay, in aid. I say every time we have to send someone back to Mexico, it comes off that bill.
Sure.
All right? You start losing money, you start losing money. Maybe they'll start doing something about it.
Well,
But every time we have to spend, or send someone back, say it's $12,000 to send them back with all the processing and everything, that just comes off the bill. And every time they do it, it comes off the bill.
good.
So
Yeah. Economic factor.
yeah.
Well, but it's moot at this point in time because according to Donald Trump, just this afternoon on my way into work, and again, let's presume the hyperbole is not in play and this is accurate, though I'm not quite sure. There have been 0 border crossings this month. 0.
That's ridiculous.
That's what he said today.
That's ridiculous.
He said it in front of every cabinet member, which he listed off like it was an attendance list in 3rd grade. He said 0. He's very proud of that. And if that's true, fine.
That's ridiculous.
Well, he said nobody wants to hear about the border anymore because the border is fixed.
No, that's ridiculous.
Well, have you met Captain Hyperbole?
DJ, you're wrong. It's not true.
Yeah.
So
I'm just passing along the information.
That's like saying he solved the homeless problem in the country. Yeah, no, that's not true. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have 0.
I didn't say it. He did.
You're not going to have 0.
Maybe they didn't catch anybody.
Yeah, that might have been what it was, but yeah,
Right.
it wasn't 0.
And he's also expanded the military zones across the border as well to, increase a couple of military bases to now include borderlands. I think there's one in Arizona and another one in Texas that got stretched out to make them militarized. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Look, fine. Keep them someplace else.
Yes.
Not a problem.
So last month that was available. According to CBP, for May fiscal year 2025, there was 12,452 crossings at the border. So
That's not 0.
It's definitely not 0, but
You use the Z word.
0.
Okay.
All right, but that's not the only Alligator Alcatraz they're building.
Where they put another one.
They're putting another one in Clay County.
Okay.
That'll be the second one that'll go in and
Okay.
go up. It'll be in Clay County.
Now, the interesting thing for the state of Florida
So
is,
over near Camp Landing.
it's costing Florida $450 million a year to build this one down by the Everglades. And
How much?
$450 million. Probably to operate it, not necessarily to build it. How much does it cost to put up a tent?
Why? Why would it be that much?
Well, the question is, are we going to get reimbursement?
$450 million. That
Yeah.
I got to fact check that one.
Well, you got labor, you got supervision,
Yeah, but $450
you got razor
million?
wire,
No.
you got to feed the alligators and the pythons.
$450 million.
I'm just reporting what was in the paper today.
Yeah, for one facility. That's not.
It was in today's paper.
That's not.
Doesn't mean it's accurate, but that was what I'm quoting.
That math's not mathing.
Okay.
So
But the question is, will it be reimbursed by the federal government? And there's some question of whether or not the federal government will reimburse us for this. So, we shall see.
Yeah.
And again, it was out of the FEMA money that Biden started using, which is what Trump's going to use now for the same thing. Soft-sided shelters on an airplane runway. My question was hurricane season. It's overseen by the Florida Department of Division of Emergency Management. And apparently this one, for whatever reason, there was, something that there were annotation that it was $187 per prisoner, and this was up to, this one is $400 per prisoner or something like that. So the math there is strange as well, because it's more expensive to do this in Florida on an open air. You're not building structures. You don't have a tremendous amount of infrastructure, and it's already there. So we'll see what happens. And the reason they're doing this is because this administration has not met their mass deportation quotas, so they need more space to put more people in places so they can mass deport them.
Okay.
They're behind schedule.
They're behind schedule on their mass deportation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So
yeah.
But that's it. But I think it's interesting because I love the fact that we don't need fences. Where are they going to go? It's the Everglades.
Well, the other thing is if they're
Gotta be a road to get there.
getting through the process, they're already in an area they have no idea where they're at.
Right.
They're there's contrary to what Donald Trump says, a majority of these people are not hardened.
They're not coming from mental institutions. They're not coming from insane asylums.
That is such a small fragment.
Right.
There might be one or two.
Absolutely.
But that is such a fragment
right.
of what these are people that are looking for a better life for their families.
Correct.
They didn't go
out
through
of
the
desperation
process.
in a lot of them.
Yeah, some of them didn't have horrible life, but it still was better to be here.
Correct.
And and they're looking for it. Most of the people I know that have taken this risk they're doing it for their future family.
Correct.
Not for like right now. They're doing it for the next generation. And those guys they're not going to run.
No,
because they have other legal people that are wanting them to get through this process.
Yep.
So
sponsors or family members.
It doesn't make any sense for them to run anywhere. So if it was these gang members and stuff like that, guess what? These tents won't work. So it's kind of contradictory of what's being said out of the White House. Granted they're illegal. They are a major strain on our economy. But they're not what he's perceiving them to be 100%. So
right. Right. Yeah. Well, he's
you got too many notes over
there. He's just bastardizing
your
him.
Your notes are fighting with your notes.
Always. Kenny's saying Biden got us behind big time. Well, Biden deported more people than Trump in both his terms. Trump's first term, he did 2.1 million removals. Biden did 4.6 million. So, Biden didn't get us behind. He might not have gotten us ahead, but Donnie can talk out of his, both sides of his hyperbole any way he wants, because the man makes up shit every time he talks.
Yeah, his numbers are.
There's no veracity,
Yeah. His numbers are constantly questioned.
Yeah.
So,
but he just, look, it's like anything else. Say it with confidence, and he certainly does. He says it with bravado and brio.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's interesting. Look, you know what? You got to keep them someplace. You got to move them out. They're not going back to their home. Apparently, these people aren't going back to their home countries. They're going to end up somewhere in South Sudan. You got to take, people from Mexico and end them in South Sudan. That's going to work out well. At a certain point in time, there's a concept that this administration cannot embrace. And it's called compassion.
And willingly. Here's the thing with me. They knowingly and willingly broke the law.
Sure.
I don't know. I think that's just as much hyperbole coming from the Democrat side, sending them to South Sudan.
No, that's where they're going.
That's where
one of the places.
That's where we're being told one of the places. But how is that more affordable than sending them back to their regular country?
It doesn't make sense to me. And what are they going to do there?
When
and are we going to have to pay South Sudan to take them?
When it doesn't make sense, it usually means it's somebody who's just blowing smoke. So, because it doesn't make sense to send them there. If they're from Honduras, send them to Honduras.
Of course.
If they're from Mexico, send them to Mexico. It's cheaper.
For us.
Yeah.
And for them.
Yeah.
But I'm under the impression that we are then at the other end of this paying countries to take these people. We're not sending them to South Sudan and say, have a nice day. We're paying these countries to accept the people that we're deporting, which is, again, why it doesn't make sense to send them back to their own country.
Yeah. Sorry. It sometimes it's when it smells like a rat. It usually is. So
Okay.
I
Hey, Blake, could you see if we're paying other countries to take our deportees, please?
I'm checking that right now.
Thank you, sir.
So, no, and we don't always do the smartest thing, but South Sudan, I don't understand that with it. Our country's paying us to bring him there.
No.
Okay, so
I don't. You think they got a labor problem in South Sudan?
they might.
You know what it is? They're going to get drafted because South Sudan's fighting a little bit of a civil war right about now.
Yeah. So, all right. So, okay, we got unbreakable baseball records. You had the Kim Trail.
Right.
All right. And then I have jobs no one wants.
Okay.
All right. So which one we going with, Blake? Unbreakable baseball records, Kim Trail, or jobs no one wants?
Let's do unbreakable baseball records.
Yay, I want to hear that one.
All right. So the top 5 unbreakable records. Okay. And I believe there's other ones out there, but all of these happened in our lifetime. And I'm pretty sure I witnessed all these records being broken.
Okay.
Okay. At number 5, probably the wackiest guy I've ever met on a baseball field, and could be one of the dumbest guys I've ever met on a baseball field. Okay. Ricky Henderson.
Okay.
All right. His stolen base record is 1,406.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. He's like ahead by like 300 or something like that, or 400 stolen bases.
You know who the active stolen base leader in baseball right now is?
I don't know.
Surprisingly, it's Starling Marte.
Marte?
Yeah.
Really?
Starling Marte, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
just heard that the other day. Yeah. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, but Ricky was so dumb.
How dumb was he?
He played with John. He played with John Olerud on 2 teams. Now, John Olerud had a head injury and had to wear a helmet on the ball field.
Yeah.
So he was. I think he was with the Yankees and with the Blue Jays. They were on the same.
He's in
team.
Toronto for sure. Yeah.
On the same team together, and when they were on the second team together, Ricky went up and said, "Hey man, why you wear that helmet? Ricky would never wear a helmet like that." All right, this is John Olerud telling the story. And he said, "Oh yeah, I had a." He goes, "Yeah, I used to play with a guy who wore a helmet like that." And Olerud looked at him and went, "Ricky, we played together for 3 years on that team."
Well, Mr. Henderson was a little self-absorbed.
Yeah. Well, and every story was Ricky would never. He
Right.
always
He's
talked third person
Yeah.
stuff. All right. Next is the hit king, Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And he has 4,256 hits. All right. To get to that, you'd have to hit 200 hits in a season, which is
Hard to do. Yeah.
for 20 seasons, and you'd still be 256 short.
Wow. And and who's the active hit leader now? We got Blake working. I still haven't gotten my South Sudan question answered.
Yeah.
We're Blake.
So
okay.
Yeah. So that one's number 4.
All right. Freddie Freeman is the active hit leader right now. He's currently at 2,347 hits. 2,347 hits.
Okay.
So he's not getting to 3,000.
Right, and his back ain't gonna make it for another 5 seasons.
Yeah, he's not getting to 3,000.
But he's a machine at times.
Yeah.
He can be good.
No, he's a Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would think so.
Probably
goes in as a Brave, not a Dodger, I
Mhm.
would think, but we don't know.
Yeah. All right. Next, this one I just can't see being broken at all.
Cal Ripken?
No. Nolan Ryan.
Oh, strikeouts.
People just don't pitch long enough. They're on pitch counts
Or
now.
deep.
They're out in the 5th or 6th inning.
Yeah.
They don't pitch complete games. If it is, it's like finding a unicorn. Nolan Ryan's at 5,714 strikeouts.
Yep.
All right. Bond's home run record. This one might have a chance of getting.
Did we mention Raleigh yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's young.
Yeah. So this one has a chance, but it's still damn near impossible because he had a couple seasons where it was like 2 seasons worth of home runs
Right.
for Hank Aaron. And that's 762 home runs.
What's Justice up to?
Who? Judge?
Judge, yeah.
Aaron Judge? He's like
Justice. I talked the official term.
Yeah.
Your Honor. Justice. Right. Justice Aaron.
Is Aaron Judge the active home run guy? I feel like Miggy was. Yeah, Miggy's out of the league now. So I know it was Miggy before. I'm wondering if Trout has, because he's played so many more seasons.
Could be.
Sorry.
Okay. But that one I think still has
I think it's
chance.
I think it's Don Baylor, by the way, Bobby.
What was it?
Hit by pitch.
Don Baylor.
Yeah.
Don Baylor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ron Hunt was up there and right back him.
Yeah. Don Baylor could actually hit. Ron Hunt could.
Right. Well, that's why he kept stepping into it.
Yeah.
Don Baylor just took up a lot of space at the plate.
All right. So it's Stanton at 429, Mike Trout 390, Paul Goldschmidt 370.
Who was the first one?
Stanton.
Stanton
okay.
at 429 now, but
And what was where was Judge? Where's Judge at? 250.
Judge is at 343.
343.
He's 8.
Okay, he's 8
and climbing.
Okay, all right.
But he is 33 though. So
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is 33.
yeah.
Wow.
Because when in his rookie year in 2017 he was like 25.
Okay. He was a late bloomer.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it's baseball. They start later in baseball when they get to the majors.
All right, and this one I don't see ever being touched. Consecutive games. Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken,
Yeah. 2,632 games. Yeah. I just never, I see that one not even being touched. The only one on this list I see coming close might be Bonds.
Right, the home runs.
Because the guys are bigger and stronger. And they play for home runs now.
Right.
Where it used to be you play to win the game, and now it's how far you can hit the ball. So the whole game of baseball is kind of tainted in my world.
Yeah, so right now for the games played streak, Matt Olson currently has a record at 694. He started in May 2nd, 2021. Mm-hmm. So he needs around
2,200.
Is Alonso on that list? He never comes out of the game. He plays every day.
I don't think Matt Olson's on the list, no.
No,
Matt Olson is the only one currently in the top 40 right now.
Really? Okay.
To be in, he's the only one that cracks like the official top 40 like longest streaks of all time. And he's number 16 right now.
Okay. Because I know Alonso played straight through both. I think he played 161 games last season. So.
All right.
Okay.
So let's talk about this chemtrail stuff because we're at the point where we need to get into our bollocks talks, but I want to hear about the chemtrails.
Well, they passed a legislation that DeSantis signed today, and it's Florida bans geoengineering and weather modification. He signed a bill designed to curb the efforts to fight climate control and prevent the spread of, I'm quoting, toxic chemicals in the vapor trails of planes. You're not allowed to cloud seed any longer. The Department of Environmental Protection is to create a what I call a rat out your neighbor list. Mm-hmm. To create forms where you can lodge complaints if you see any of this going on. Nowhere in the legislation does it use the term chemtrails.
Okay.
However, it's been bandied about in their debates. And the interesting thing is, nobody in the last 10 years in Florida has applied for a license to do any of this. Mm-hmm. But it got to the point where NOAA and FEMA had to put up articles debunking the concept of chemtrails. And what chemtrails are, supported by, some of your favorite stalwarts on the truth and sanity, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Robert Kennedy Jr., who both think that you can control hurricanes with the vapor condensation contrails that are coming out of airplanes. People see contrails from an airplane, which is the hot vapor coming out of the exhaust of airplanes mm-hmm. that then solidifies into the water, crystallizes into cold, and that's what you see when you see a contrail from an airplane or a rocket going up, for that matter. But people think that that's nefarious, mm-hmm. that they're using that to pump chemicals to nefarious ends, including creating hurricanes and controlling hurricanes, and also mind control on the population and things of that nature. So people freak out about it. It's up there with big time conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this one's a little too far out for me.
Yeah. So that's your chemtrails. It's been kicking around since the 60s. Mind control and Marjorie Taylor Greene, along with her Jewish space lasers, thinks that these can control hurricanes. which apparently they cannot.
Yeah, it definitely, and like it's definitely weird, like hearing like all these theories from like all the different people like out there, like but like the weirdest time I ever heard like the chemtrails theory came from my aerospace professor in high school. It was like, okay, not the good one I liked, the one I had to drop out of because everyone kept pulling me.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about the cloud seeding is it can work on a small basis, to make rain, in drought-stricken areas. You put, I think it's silver iodide, something like that, up into the clouds, and it's called cloud seeding, and it may cause the clouds to precipitate.
Okay.
And you can do it on a small scale, but it's never been done on a large scale, and it's not done
Is this why we're
consistent.
sending people to Sudan to do this, because they don't
Exactly.
have any rain there?
That's exactly right. No,
Okay.
we're sending Native Americans to do a rain dance that will be more successful.
It sounds more believable.
I'm telling you. Then the chemtrails, I'm with you on that. Believe me.
Yeah. No. All right.
Bollocks
time. It is time to
right
go
there on the
go down the rabbit hole. All right. This one was interesting. We kicked it around this afternoon, and I was like, it's my birthday, coming of age type situation. Let's see what some of the different coming of age traditions are around the world.
Oh yeah. There's some wacky ones.
Some really wackadoodle ones.
Oh yeah.
So
for both men and women.
All right. I did not have a coming of age. My coming of age is when I went from Little League to Babe Ruth, because I went from a 60-foot bases to 90-foot bases.
Ooh.
So that's my coming of age moment in my life. I didn't have a bar mitzvah.
Neither did I.
You did not. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm going to hell in every religion. I haven't been baptized, confirmed, communed, bar mitzvah, bas mitzvah, none of it. All right. I haven't even gone to a debutante ball. Nobody invited me. Go figure.
Yeah. You haven't?
No.
I haven't either.
No. But there's a show on TV now called The Buccaneers, which is a bunch of rich American daughters go over to England to find titled husbands. And these titled husbands are apparently impoverished, and they're hoping that these rich American girls will bail them out with their parents' fortunes.
Oh. How's it working out?
A couple of them worked out pretty good. A couple of them didn't. It's like another Bridgerton type of thing.
All right. So a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. All right.
18.
All right. It is the Jewish boys and girls celebrate at age 13 and 12 in order to demonstrate their commitment to their faith and recognize that they are now responsible for following Jewish law. After the religion ceremony, a reception typically ensues to celebrate the young person's hard work and accomplishment, as they have often spent weeks learning and preparing for this day.
They have to learn the Haftorah, which is a section out of the Torah that they have to read at the Beamer, which is the dais in the sanctuary, which is the temple. Boys do it on Saturday mornings. If it's a Reformed temple, which is a little bit more liberal, girls can do it on Saturdays. But if it's an Orthodox temple, the girls cannot do it on Saturday. There is still, still second-class citizens. In Orthodoxy in particular, the women have to shave their heads and wear what's called a sheitel, which is a wig. Oh, yeah, there's huge sexual subjugation. And I mean, sex is, not sex.
Yeah.
In the Orthodox Jewish religion. Absolutely. Women are chattel.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And prevent and propagate the race. You don't have 13 children, you're unsuccessful.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's rough.
All right. The next one I have, what do you have as far as, let's go kind of back and forth of which one. So that was the most common one I think most of us knew about.
Well, then you've got, your Sweet 16s and the quinceañeras, which are at 15 and 16 or 16 and 15.
Yeah, quinceañeras is a Hispanic, Central America, South America.
Yep, exactly. You've got debutante balls, which are still prevalent in the South, and that's exactly what I was talking about with the Buccaneers. Debutante balls used to be in the late 1800s or in the early 1800s, way for women to find husbands and families to get wealth from these women, and they would set up these debutante balls, and that was coming of age as well.
Yeah, the American coming of age is considered the Sweet 16.
Right.
Just if when we did this, that's the one that really popped out. All right, the one that kind of caught me off guard is Satir My Way, coming of age, a tradition, the bullet ant.
Oh, there you go, down in Brazil.
Initiation.
Oh yeah, that's a little stingy.
Yeah. So you want to talk about what they do in the Maui tribe, at age 13.
Yeah. The hard part is the person who's the facilitator of this, because there's stinging ants there, and somebody's got to collect all these stinging ants, which they're called bullet ants because the bite or the sting of these ants feels like you were shot with a bullet. That's how god awful it is. And what they do is somebody goes out and collects a bunch of these, and then they keep them in a hollow piece of bamboo for a while, and the boys have to deal with this. And they put the ants in a glove with their stingers facing into the, not to the tips, but into the palm. And the young boy has to put his hand in there and get stung, I guess. And once he does that successfully, he is now a man and eligible to marry.
Okay. They don't have to do it once.
No, upwards of 20 times in their lifetime.
Yeah. It's over a month span, they have to do it 20 times.
Yeah.
So, when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's awful. But just imagine what the second time is like.
I'm just wondering who the poor schmuck has to go out and collect the ants.
Yeah.
Now, that's for the boys.
You kind of scoop those in.
Exactly. That's for the boys.
Yeah.
The girls, it's different because they don't get stung, but when a girl has her period, her first period, she's then put in a hut by herself for 2 months. And the only person who can visit them is her mother, who brings her food for 2 months. Wow. And at that point, at the end of those 2 months, she is again able to be married. Okay. So
it's the same tribe?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the girls in that same tribe, the Wamat tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. The Amish Rumspringa.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they turn 16, sometimes 17, sometimes even 18, it's kind of their off year.
Right. That's right. It's a gap year.
Their gap year.
Right.
And this is for the Amish, and they're basically allowed to live in a more traditional world. And, some go back, and,
some don't.
Yeah, but they must go back before they turn the age of 26.
Okay.
So you can't go at like 30 go, hey, I might try that again. Yeah, no, you got to make that decision before you turn 26.
It's kind of tough to find out that there's electricity in the world, and go back and say no.
Yeah,
okay.
Hot showers.
Right. Yeah, really.
I guess they do have hot showers, but they got to start a fire and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, all right. The other one that I saw was the one in, where was the 4-day ceremony?
Oh, is that the Ethiopian ones, or is that the,
I think it was
the Hamar tribe in Omo Valley in southwest
the
Ethiopia?
Ethiopian one I had was
the bull jumping.
Was the cow jumping.
Right.
All right. So some grooms to be.
I think it's more involved by the way.
Yeah. There's way more than that. Participate in a successful jump over a castrated male cow 4 times while naked.
Correct.
Symbolizing the childhood they are leaving behind is successful. They will now be considered one of the Maza, other men who pass the test and spend the next few months supervising these events in the village through the Harmar territory.
Correct.
So they got to jump over the cow 4 times naked.
No, you have to jump over 4 cows 4 times. Oh. It's not a cow. There's a lineup of 4 cows which have been greased and slickened. You're greased and slickened. You're naked. You need to sort of, like in the James Bond movie where he goes running, Roger Moore goes running across
Blake,
the alligator heads.
I gotta see a picture of this one. Hamar. Homar, cow jumping,
bull jumping.
You're in charge of editing in.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff going on along with this.
Blake has this baffled look on his face. Like,
are you serious?
Wait, I want to say if we can't show it, we just can't show it. but see if you can find an image of, like, I want to see these 4 cows lined up, because mine only says.
And by the way, these are Ethiopian cows. They're very skinny.
Yeah, mine only says a male cow 4 times.
No, it's 4 cows pushed together like a barge, and then you've got to run boom, 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 turn around and jump back. If you fail this,
Nope, not posting it. Nope.
Can't do it. Shows too much. Okay.
if you fail this, you have to wait until next year.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, before they do this, however, the boys are given a wooden carved phallus called a boko, which they then present to the girls who must, hand it to the girls he meets, and the girls must kiss it 3 times as a blessing, and then give it back to them. And then they go on from there. The women in this tribe beg to be beaten with sticks. They line up for that, and they voluntarily beg the men in the tribe, and they're like switches. But these women get scarred, and there's some kind of prominence about the scars these women have. So the whole thing is very, very interesting. And the dowry, by the way, once the boy does this, the dowry for them becomes something like 36 goats and 20 cattle. It's weird. Yeah, I saw videos of that. It wasn't hard to. I mean, it was hard to see these women standing there saying, whip me, whip me, whip me. But there was blurs over the penises and stuff. So, and then once the boys do that, it's a 3-day ceremony and a big feast.
Yeah. A lot of the Asians ceremonies don't start until like 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the one in Japan
when they finally get body hair,
and yeah, they still don't have it. Even
Sorry,
John. In Japan, the second Monday of January marks a special day, the day in which 20-year-olds get to dress up in their finest traditional attire, attend a ceremony in the local city offices, receive gifts, and party to their heart's content amongst friends and family. It's the coming of age festival, otherwise known as Shijin no Hai.
Okay.
The tradition started in nearly 1,200 years ago and recognizes the age when Japanese believe youth become mature, contributing members of society. It's also the time when they get to vote and eat or drink. They get to vote and drink at the same time. So the other one around that time of the age of 20 is in China. It's a Confucian coming of age tradition, Jin Li or Guan Li. And I might be saying those entirely incorrectly, so I apologize.
Can't help you.
In some parts of China, there has recently been a resurgence in Confucius style coming of age ceremonies. Jin Li for girls, Guan Li for boys. The ceremony typically honors youth who have turned 20, that number again, 20, and provide a fun opportunity wearing traditional dress for the girls. This is also an opportunity to follow typical Jin Li practices, such as making hair buns, attaching hairpins, and paying tribute to the Hangdi, a Chinese ancestor.
Okay.
So the Apache one was the four-day one.
That was the 4-day one, and that was for women. The Apache Sunrise was a women's ceremony.
Yep.
Exactly. Again, after her first period, 4 days, where she then starts to represent the changing woman, the first woman on Earth, and then the mother of all Apache women. But did you see anything about the Vanuatu land diving?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a little wonky.
Yeah, and these are just vines, like rigid vines.
Right. There's not a bungee. There's no elasticity in that cord.
There's no testing to it or anything like that. So there's deaths that
100-foot tower.
Yeah, 90 is exactly 98 feet.
Okay.
And,
I rounded up.
Yeah, and if it's measured incorrectly,
yep.
It takes into account different weights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a problem.
Right, and they tie this vine to their ankle.
Yeah.
And they go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a quick stop, not even a nice.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. And and a lot of these kids end up breaking necks and bones.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, the one that was really weird. and it's called.
Wait a second. The one that was really, these haven't been weird enough?
These are.
Lay it on me, brother.
All right, these are, and Blake, if you can find this one, it's called Crocodile Scars in Papua
New Guinea.
New Guinea.
Yeah.
All right. And if you can find this, the young men are scarred to resemble crocodile skin, honoring their ancestors. So they actually will wedge up their flesh. And
Ouch.
And that's their coming of age.
You know,
There you go. It's right there.
There's still legitimate. Oh, okay. Papua New Guinea, there's still legitimate cannibals out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and probably one or two, remnants of Japanese soldiers. 136 right now, still in the woods. Think the war's not over.
Yeah, you know the one thing those cannibals won't eat though is clowns. They won't eat clowns. You know why?
I'm afraid to ask.
They taste funny.
Oh, God, that's why I was afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. Some other ones are involving some circumcision in Kenya.
Yeah. That's the
and-
Maasai tribe. Yeah.
And then there's Inuits that send the boys out, and now girls can go too.
Bring me home a polar bear.
Yeah, they go out for like 2 months. These kids go out for 2 months, but they now have kind of not dummied it down, but made it a little easier on them, and they have camps where they can go to those camps, and they're not they still have to do the ceremony and rough it. It's not an easy thing to do.
Right. Well, it's cold, man.
But they have camps set up for them so that they don't just go out there and freeze to death.
Yeah, the Maasai was a weird one too. That was the one where they have to sleep outside the night before. This is in Kenya and Tanzania, but they get to drink a mixture of alcohol, milk, and cow's blood, and then they eat a whole lot of meat before they get circumcised.
Mm-hmm.
And if you flinch during the circumcision, you bring shame upon your family.
Mm-hmm. Can't even flinch.
Nope.
2 for flinching.
Nope. What I did find interesting though is because I'm reading this book, Act of God. Kathy knows that. I'm getting through it. It's very interesting. And a couple times during it, Abraham was told to circumcise himself, and they used a flint knife.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, and I forget who this was. I don't know if it was Joshua or the guy before him, because I really do need, this book is it's not confusing, but I'm trying to get the timeline right for who begot Ben.
Yeah.
And I need a family tree starting with, Adam and Eve, but even start with Abraham, and we'll go from there, because it gets a little bit confusing for me to try to follow this through.
Everybody was begot from the Seth side.
Right. Well, yeah, no, not from the Abel side.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cain was outcasted. Abel didn't have any, and yeah.
So
Cain did have some, but it's not
right.
that lineage is nowhere near the Seth side as the
rest of them.
Yeah,
everybody. But one of the tribes, I mean, there was again, to show their adherence to the hi, I am your God, and I'm letting you right now, I'm a vengeful God, so you better listen to me type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
These adult men were all circumcised, again, with a flint knife. It's not like they had surgical steel or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm glad mine was taken care of well before me having to flinch.
Right. In the hospital.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because just talking about it, I think I flinched. So, what was the one that really was like, wow, they still do that? That you found? I mean, the one, the Inuits, they modified it.
Yeah.
The one that really just, the whole crocodile skin thing kind of freaked me out a little bit.
I hate to say it, it's kind of cool looking in retrospect. I'm not volunteering for it by any stretch of the imagination, but I guess once the initial process is over, you kind of look cool.
Yeah.
There are just some wacky ones. That's all. I think the bullet ant one was a little bit strange, because of how painful it was. I think, one false step with a Vanuatu land diving was a little spooky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if the statistics of how many people ended up, paraplegics or broken their neck, because that's, it's like, I'm going, could you make my vine a little shorter, please? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just a little extra.
Yeah. No,
just
a little
to make
less.
sure. No. Just just to pull it up a little extra.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Cinch that up. Man, I get up there and I put a couple of knots in it for you before you jump. And by the way, and that tower is made out of, not a whole lot of sturdy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see that thing wobbling. It's weird looking. But that's been around for a while. That's where they got the idea for bungee jumping.
Yeah, and they start these kids at like age 7 and 8.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is once you become a man, you finish your Haftorah and a bar mitzvah, and it's today you are a man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 13.
Yeah,
fine. At that point in time, you can get married.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. All these things are precursors to being able to be married, for both the boys and the women.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little spooky.
All right, there was an Indonesian one about teeth sharpening.
Ooh.
And I didn't get a whole lot about it, but it was something for the women, and they spiked their teeth.
Okay, I'm not on board with that one necessarily.
Yeah. So it was Mentawai, Indonesia teeth sharpening, and see if we can get an image of that one, Blake. So teeth sharpening, and it's Mentawai Indonesia, and it was a yeah. I don't know if that one really can.
No, I don't know if I know that I would want to date that woman.
Yeah, no, that's not an attractive way to.
No, right. Uh-huh.
Find her on your Tinder date.
No.
So,
or on your tender parts.
Yeah,
let alone your Tinder date.
Yeah. No, I just kind of can't get this. There they are. They're sharpening their teeth right there, making little points on them.
Okay.
And they put a bar inside to keep their mouth open, and they got a hole there, and it's another one without any Novocaine.
No, there's no anesthesia. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You gotta tough it out. So, well, look, I mean, these are rites of passage. You gotta. If they were easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I became a man on my own and didn't have to do any of those things. Like I said, I went from Little League to Babe Ruth. That was my rite of passage. So, I think in the U.S. it's getting your driver's license,
your learner's permit, right?
Kind of your rite of passage.
Yep.
So, see, I milked mine until the very end. You kind of got through yours a little quicker.
Well,
but the glasses worked very well.
Thank you very much. It's good. Nothing leaked.
Not a single drop dropped out.
Excellent. That's a good thing. And now we know where they belong.
Yeah.
Here in the studio. B for Bollocks.
Woohoo!
Well, very happy birthday to you, my friend.
Thank you. It's the end of our week. Tomorrow, I have an interview with the Green Trolleys.
Yeah.
I have Dave Chatterton and Heather Quinn coming in, talking about the Green Trolleys and all the amazing stuff they do in town.
For sure.
And then I have my 2 cents at 9:04. So
I will be tuning in.
That's my tomorrow day. I will be talking a little bit about becoming 58. For the first time. I've never been this old before.
You youngster.
Yes, I've never been this old before. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. Support our sponsors. If you would hit that share button. Thank you to all you guys that joined our YouTube. If you haven't joined the YouTube, please still do that. We need those
Take a couple more. Absolutely. Subscribe away. Tell your friends.
And this is Bollocks this evening.
See you next Monday.